A blessing is like a guest. If you treat it poorly, it will find a house where it is appreciated. This is the story of Umuna, a village that broke the pot that held their water. In the quiet hills of Umuna, there lived a young woman named Chinazor. She was not a princess. She was not the daughter of a chief. She was an orphan. Her father and mother had gone to the land of the spirits when she was very small, leaving her in the compound of her father's sister. Chinazor knew her place. She worked on farms that were not hers. She cooked food she would eat last. She fetched water for pots she did not own. But Chinazor had a gift she did not ask for. It was a quiet gift. When Chinazor walked through the market, the noise of bargaining would go down. When she walked past two men fighting, their anger would cool like hot yam dipped in water. When she planted a seed, it did not just grow, it danced out of the soil. People noticed. They did not say much, but their eyes followed her. She was beautiful, yes, but it was not the beauty of loud colors. It was the beauty of the moon, calm, steady, and impossible to ignore. Her auntie was a good woman. She fed Chinazor and treated her well because Chinazor was a worker. If you have a hoe that cuts the soil well, you keep it sharp. That was how her auntie loved her, because she was useful. But the auntie had a daughter, Adora. She was the kind of person who would wait for the sun to warm the ground before her feet touched it. She was lazy. While Chinazor was at the stream before the first cock crowed, Adora was turning on her mat. While Chinazor was pounding yam, Adora was painting her face with camwood. Adora looked at Chinazor, and she did not see a cousin. She saw a shadow that was growing taller than herself. One day, the sound of the ogene gong rang through Umuna. Gum! 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 The town crier's voice was loud. People of Umuna! The king of the land sends word. The prince is ready to take a wife. He will choose a maiden from our villages. The news ran through the village like bushfire in the Harmattan season. Every maiden began to prepare. They bought beads. They rubbed their skin with oil. But in the market, in the streams, and under the udara trees, the people whispered one name. It will be Chinazor. Yes, the prince needs a woman of peace. That is Chinazor. Chinazor did not say a word. She did not buy new beads. She simply continued to sweep the compound. But Adora heard the whispers, and that was when the seed of jealousy in her heart broke open and became a poisonous tree. She looked at her cousin and said in her heart, "Not you, never you." It was the night before the great gathering. The village held a sacred ivory bell, the Ogene Ike. It was used to purify the land. No woman was allowed to touch it. It was kept in the shrine of the elders. In the dead of night, while honest people slept, Adora stole it, not because it was useful to her or she had anything to do with it, but to paint Chinazor. When the sun rose, a cry tore through the village. The bell is gone! Panic seized Umuna. If the bell is gone, the protection of the ancestors is gone. Adora ran to the village square, tears flowing from her eyes like rain. She threw herself on the ground before the elders. "I saw her!" Adora screamed, pointing a shaking finger. "I woke up in the night and I saw her coming from the shrine. I saw Chinazor with the bell." The elders turned to Chinazor. "Did you take it?" they asked. Chinazor looked at her cousin. She saw the fear and the hate in Adora's eyes. She looked at the elders. "I did not touch it," Chinazor said gently. "Liar!" Adora shouted. "She wants to use it for charms to catch the prince." Fear is a bad advisor. The elders did not search the house. They did not consult the oracle. They only saw the bad omen. Tradition said if a woman touches the sacred bell, the land is defiled. They did not wait. They dragged Chinazor to the edge of the village. They tore her wrapper. They loosened her hair. The chief priest pointed to the boundary, the evil forest where the soil is hard and only thorns grow. "Go," he commanded. "You are unclean. Do not look back at Umuna, or you will die." Chinazor did not scream. She did not curse them. She stood tall, wiped the dust from her face, and turned her back on the people she had served all her life. She walked into the forest. Hi! If you are enjoying Chinazor's story, please like, leave a comment, and follow or subscribe. I'd love to hear what you think as I share the rest of her journey with you. The evil forest is a place where the sun goes to die and the shadows grow teeth. That first night, the air was cold enough to crack a stone. Chinazor sat beneath a massive Iroko tree and gathered dried palm fronds to make a bed. She waited for the spirit to come. She waited for the leopard to find her. She waited for the darkness to swallow her whole. But the forest has its own wisdom. It knows the difference between a thief and a treasure. As she lay her head down, a soft rustling came from the bush. Not the heavy thud of a monster, but the light step of grace. A deer stepped into the clearing. It did not run. It walked to Chinazor and lay its head on her lap. Then came the birds with feathers the color of the rainbow, perching on her shoulders. Chinazor wept. She realized then that the gift she carried, the peace that calmed angry men, and the life that made seeds dance, was not something the elders of Umuna could take away. They had banished the girl, but they could not banish the grace. The next morning, a hunter named Obina from the neighboring village was tracking a bush pig when he saw a sight that made him drop his bow. He saw a woman sitting in the heart of the evil forest, surrounded by animals, as if she were the queen of the woods. Obina did not see a cursed woman. He saw a blessing. He took her to his village where the people of Amaike welcomed her. They saw her hands turn their dry soil into a carpet of green. Within a month, Amaike became a land of plenty. Their yams grew as large as a man's thigh, and their granaries groaned under the weight of the harvest. But while Amaike feasted, Umuna fasted. Back in Umuna, it was as if the heaven has closed and earth shut its mouth against them the day Chinazor left the village. Not a single drop of rain fell. The streams dried up until they looked like the wrinkled skin of an old man. The goats died in their pens, and the children of hunger. The village that had chased away its water pot was now dying of thirst. The elders went to the great Dibia. Why has the earth turned its back on us? The Dibia did not throw the cowries twice. He looked at them with eyes that saw into the spirit world. The man who throws away his only water pot should not cry of thirst, the Dibia said. He looked at the chief and said, "You chased away the one who brought the feast. Now you must fast." Word soon reached Umuna of the woman of peace in Amaike, whose presence made the desert bloom. They knew it was Chinazor. with heavy hearts and dusty feet, the elders traveled to Amaike. They knelt before the orphan they had shamed. Chinazor, they pleaded. The land is dead. The ancestors are silent. Please come home. Chinazor looked at them. She was no longer the quiet girl who ate last. She was a woman who knew her worth. She thought of the dog that had beaten her cousin who had planted the lie. I will come back, but listen to this. As long as the dog that tastes blood still roams the yard, the chickens will never rest, Chinazor said firmly. I will return only when the one who brought the rot is removed from the soil. The elders did not hesitate. They returned to Umuna and found Adora. The truth had already begun to leak out like water from a broken gourd. The sacred bell was found hidden inside Adora's woven bag, rusted by her guilt. They banished Adora to the same forest she had sent her cousin. The day Chinazor stepped across the boundary back into Umuna, before her foot could even reach the village square, a low rumble started in the belly of the sky. The rain fell so hard it washed the shame from the trees and the sorrow from the soil. The people of Umuna danced in the mud, shouting her name. Chinazor walked to her father's compound, not as a walker, but as the one who held the key to the rain. And from that day on, Umuna never forgot. A blessing is a guest. If you treat it poorly, it will leave, and it may take the rain with it. And that brings us to the end of our journey today. I want to say a huge thank you for watching and supporting the channel. If you found this story interesting, please consider subscribing and hitting the like button. Your support means the world to me and helps this channel grow every day. I'm curious, what was your favorite part of the story? Let me know below. Until next time, take care of yourself and have a wonderful day.